fellow ARK players, it's Havoc. It's day 8 of the ARK Let's Play series. You can find it on the YouTube channel HGC, which stands for Havoc Gaming Channel. We've got all day 1 to day 7 on there, and we're going to keep on pumping out videos every day. And hopefully you join us every day for the adventure. So today I'm going to be finishing up the foundation for 006. And I'm also going to be putting up the taming pen on the raft so that on day 9 I can get a stegosaur and possibly a pteranodon at the same time. Get the ball rolling a little bit. Elixir of the gods. Yeah, you know what? It's starting to feel pretty lonely on this island. It'd be nice to get the hell off of it soon. Having gone around the island now a few times and seeing what's out there, I'm not expecting anything too crazy as far as my future tames go. We got the level 190 pteranodon and then maybe a level 170 stag. But I'm going to keep my eyes open and hopefully stumble across something higher level than that. Since the max wild dino cap for what I'm playing is level 300, I want to at least find level 250 if it's possible. If I can't at least find level 275, 290, then anything below that I'm going to go shoot for a female at least for the eggs. So we'll see how everything plays out. Right now the main priority is finishing this raft so that I can actually comfortably explore the world in the near future. If you watched my video yesterday, I wanted to apologize for my Walmart rant. Although it was sincere. Level 120, male stag. Red sky this morning. How's that saying go? Red sky at night. No, what is it? I don't know. It's something about red sky at night, sailor's delight, or something like that. Quote fail. Kind of like with George W. Bush, and I'm not going to get political. I'm not going to say if I'm a Republican or a Democrat. You might be able to guess simply from my demeanor. But George W. Bush, when he failed at the fool me once, shame on you, and then he pauses, goes, fool me twice, and you won't fool me again. That was it. Well, I just felt his pain just moments ago. Oh, 006 is looking nice. I'm so excited to show everybody my raft design. I've done it a couple times before, but every time is kind of like a different version, and every time it just gets a little bit better. And you know, I make little tweaks and modifications to, you know, just kind of push it every single time I make it. And there's going to be a few new things I'm going to try with this raft, but the overall idea will remain the same. So hopefully today I'll start being able to gather vegetables from my crop plots. Yesterday it was in the middling phase, and the day before that it was the day that I had planted them. So yeah, it looks like they're still in their middling phase. Yeah, I'm really gonna try to push this today, push this raft and get the taming pen on it. I don't need to have the actual base part on the raft. I just need the taming pen on it, so I can at least get a stegosaur in my arsenal of dinos, which I only have 2 dinos right now, so it's not much of an arsenal. But the idea is that I will start to accrue an arsenal of them. Scouting around. Look at all this bullshit. Like, seriously, what the fuck? Like, the max level cap's supposed to be 300, and there we saw, what, level 50? That's like 1/6 of the possibility of what I should be seeing. Blue supply drop. Last time I picked up a blue supply drop, I got 3 pieces of fur armor. Ooh. Ascendant chitin gauntlets. Ascendant chitin boots. Nice. Well, my dude's starting to get piggity. Piggity's a word I made up, by the way. As you might have guessed in the context in which I had used it, piggity means, like, badass. I came up with it while I was stationed in Hawaii, because it kind of fit that Hawaiian way of speaking. It's piggity bra. I'm not Hawaiian at all. I'm not Polynesian at all. Obviously. But I was blessed enough to get to experience their culture for 5 years. And I love the island of Oahu. If you're into hiking at all, Oahu has some super intense hikes. Super intense and super fun. Mount Olympus. If you ever go to Oahu and you're looking for a hike, I'd advise Mount Olympus was one of my more favorite ones. 3 Peaks. What else? There's one called like Mala'alakai Waterfall or something like that. And that you can find that trailhead in Kailua. There's just a ton. The IAL Loop Trail if you're looking for a more easy hike. But the politics in Hawaii are awful. That state robbed me so bad. I got a Jeep Wrangler and I got a lift kit on it and new tires. And I didn't know that in the state of Hawaii, when you do that, you need to get a state inspection and get what they call a recon sticker. And I was living in Honolulu at the time, and there was no place for me to park. I had to find a place to park out on the street, and I would get fines. Like, every day I would wake up and I'd walk out to my Jeep, and I'd have a thing on my windshield wiper. And then, when it was time to re-register my vehicle, they wouldn't re-register it because I didn't have that recon inspection sticker. So I scheduled a recon inspection, and it was like 6 months out. So now I didn't have the recon sticker, I didn't have registration up to date, so now I was getting $600 tickets almost every day. And Yeah, like, I was so stressed out. There's nothing I could do about it. So, I mean, literally, the state was robbing me blind. And then I'm pretty sure that the apartments that I was staying at, the Tradewind Apartments, was in cahoots with a towing company, because my Jeep would get towed. One time my wife was sick, and I went out and got her medicine, and I came back, and I parked. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, so nobody was out, and everything was dead. And I pulled my Jeep up to the building, where the manager parked all the time. I ran upstairs, gave her medicine, asked if she was feeling okay, got her a glass of water, came out, and my Jeep was gone. And there was no tow beeping. The tow trucks, when they back up and stuff, you hear the beeping. There was none of that. They like snuck in and stole my Jeep. And I called the cops. They're like, yeah, you got towed. You can pick your Jeep up at this place. I go there. They charged me $700. $700. And it was only like a 3-minute drive away. So, I love the island of Oahu. I hate the politics. It's a shitty, shitty, shitty state when it comes to politics. So, great place to visit, bad place to live, if you ask me, anyway. So, yesterday was the Walmart rant. Today was the living on Oahu rant. Yeah, it's starting to seem kind of like an overpopulation problem on this island. I think I'll go on a killing. Well, I know that I'll be going on a killing spree a little bit today. Nothing crazy, I don't have a T-Rex or anything like that, but I can do some pretty serious damage with the trike. The only thing that I probably couldn't kill on this sanctuary island with my trike is the brontosaurs. That would be a bad idea, because you can't knock back a brontosaur with a trike. See here, level 39. Making my way. Nothing good. Save those engram points for later down the road. I got too many saddles that I need to buy in the future. Too many saddles, too many pieces of armor. A lot of structures I still need to get. The greenhouse stuff. All the metal structures. So definitely gonna save up those points. Use them as I need them. So, since I'm pre-recording these videos and posting them on YouTube, unfortunately I don't get that natural interaction with my viewers. And, that would be really nice, and that's why I'm going to be doing Twitch at some point. But I want to do this ARC YouTube series to kind of maybe get my name out there, even if it's just a little bit, and build some street cred in the ARC community. And get comfortable, just talking to a camera. But where I was going with this was, even though I can't interact with you live, what I can do, if you're interested, is you can post things in the comment section of this video, and then the next video I make, I'll be sure to address them. I'll keep to my word on that. Until I get. If I get too many people asking too many questions and it becomes overwhelming. But I don't foresee that happening in the near future at all. And if you're the very first person who does it, thank you in advance. Because that will help me come up with things to talk about. And I'd like to share my knowledge about this game with you, or anything else. I'm primarily a realtor, so even if you have any real estate questions, we can talk about that if you're interested. And I practice out of the state of Wisconsin, so just as a small disclaimer, all the stuff that I know about real estate might not apply in your state of residence. Or even philosophy. I love talking about philosophy, even like video game philosophy. So yeah, just if you have any questions, whatever you want to talk about. And of course, as long as it's not too abrasive. I don't want to get into politics too much. I've done that before, and I went through a phase where I was kind of zealous about politics, and now I'm just kind of, I have my ideology, I have my beliefs, and stuff like that, but what I've learned is that it's kind of useless to talk about it. You'll just kind of create more enemies and more negativity than there really needs to be, I guess. But I love to talk about politics. Like, if I could talk to anyone just one-on-one, and have it be anonymous. So since I'm a realtor, like, I can't just go onto Facebook and the people that I knew in high school, go on there and be like, hey, you're dumb, you idiot, which I never spoke like that. I always tried to write eloquently and speak eloquently, approach it politely, but most people won't return that politeness. People get emotional when you challenge their outlook on life and what's right and what's wrong. Because if you tell someone that they're wrong in politics, they can kind of, they'll get defensive, or most people will get defensive, because you're threatening their morality. So yeah, and especially like on days like this, I'm not doing a ton of different things that need a whole lot of dialogue, so I'd be more than happy to discuss pretty much anything. What I need help with is ideas for instructional videos. I did the raising the max wild dino level cap video, and then I was thinking about doing a mod video, but that can get kind of convoluted because it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to add mods to a server, it's going to be a little bit more challenging than adding mods to a solo player game through the Steam Workshop, because you need to actually go into the workshop and look at the mods, find the mod ID, and you need to copy and paste or manually input those mod IDs into your server. So it's a little bit different of a process. So I'd have to make 2 videos about mods, or one video that covers both, but in the sake of viewers finding what they want to find, that would come down to 2 videos. It's just kind of convoluted, it's kind of confusing. I personally learned how to do all the mods for servers and stuff like that through Google searches, but if that's something you all want to see, if that's something you want me to make, I'd be more than happy to do so. I just don't know if it'd be worth the effort. So you tell me. Ooh, level 230 Ankylosaur. Right? Well, it's a male. I'm getting to that point where beggars can't be choosers. Obviously I prefer a female, but this game's just not giving me any breaks with finding those supreme level dinos. But once I get this raft up and running, I got, with the taming pen, I'll stick close to Sanctuary Island and use the taming pen that way. But to actually go out into the more dangerous parts of the world map, I'm going to want my actual shelter built up on the raft. God, I like those Ascendant Fur Gauntlets. 350 armor. Yeah, so see, it's kind of acting funky. I know you saw all that. You just gotta kind of work with it and get those stone foundations into place one way or another. Even though it might be a little bit glitchy, it will work. You just gotta finagle it sometimes. Nothing wrong with a little finagling. I'd love to be able to do this full time. This and or Twitch. I'm doing real estate right now. And I like it, it's okay, but, and I've been doing it for 5 years, so I've paid my dues. I think any new realtor has to go through several years of paying their dues before they can really get into the swing of getting that steady stream of clients and feeling comfortable and competent handling multiple clients at one time. But it's not my passion. And I know a lot of people's passion is video games. And that's very true for me. And I also like helping people. But doing this isn't just simply playing video games. For every hour I play Ark, there's 2.5, 3 hours of other things that have to happen before I can get it on YouTube. So I play an hour, and then I'll go back and review it and kind of come up with talking points. And that way I'll have an outline when I do the commentary. So then I watch the video of that 1 hour that I played, and I comment on it. And sometimes if I'm not happy by the end of the video, I'll delete it and just start over. So right there is, the 1 hour gameplay, and then at least another hour of doing the commentary, and probably another 20 minutes or half an hour coming up with the outline. And then uploading it to YouTube, because the file size is so large. I'm recording this and downloading it at 1920 by 1080, 80,000 bit rate. And so they're 30 gigabyte files that I'm uploading to YouTube, and that can take, I thought I had pretty fast internet. But that can take, 7 hours, 7-8 hours to upload one video. So that's why it'll be nice to get into Twitch someday. But I'm really enjoying this, and I hope you guys are too, guys and gals. I don't feel too afraid saying guys, because when I look at my YouTube analytics, with all the views I've gotten, and I'm grateful for every view that I've gotten, but there's a demographics part in the analytics section of YouTube. Not one single female has watched any of my videos or listened to any of the tracks that I made, those drum and bass / dubstep tracks. So I've got a little bit of content out there, and it's only been, you know, guys that have seen it, so I don't feel too afraid saying, hey guys, there's a 99.9% chance that I'm not alienating anybody. So I actually brought this question up to my wife earlier tonight, and what my concern was actually about my personality and how I come across on YouTube, because there's so many successful people on YouTube that, like, they come across as really energetic, you know, almost over the top. But what I'm trying to do is just kind of be a normal person. You know, I want to be entertaining and I want to be informative, but I want to be myself. So, and if you have any advice, like if I get enough people that say that they would prefer me to, you know, act more energetic or whatever, I can work on it. But as of right now, you know, I'm just gonna kind of be myself and see where that goes. Yeah, I'm all about the feedback, because I'm not doing this for myself, you know, just for myself. I'm doing it for the viewer. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I mean, out of the only people who are going to want to watch this are people who play Ark. And then out of all those people, maybe 0.01% might even want to sit down and watch somebody else play it. Most people, you know, a lot of people don't like watching other people play video games. They'd rather be playing it themselves, which is totally understandable. So, and I understand that. You know, my demographic's pretty small. But, and this is just a starting point for me. I want to get a complete series from beginning to finish on the island, on Ark. You know, again, just to build street cred. One of the things I'm working on is kind of explaining things well, because I know that I do a lot of kind of guesstimating when I'm doing instructional type of deals on the Ark Let's Play series. If I were to actually do an instructional video on something, I would make sure I had all the answers, and I would verify the answers to make sure that they were 100% correct before posting it. So I'm working on that. Like, the thing that I don't have a problem with is actually playing the game. I've always been my biggest philosophy in video games is kill to death ratio. Like, I don't typically care about storyline. I don't typically care about much else other than kill to death ratio. So I'm more of a trigger man than a story person. Which is probably another one of the reasons why I like this game so much. It's not weighed down with a bunch of dialogue and, well, you should care about this character because she had an affair with him and he went off to space and now she doesn't know what to do. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Let me just go kill some shit. And if not kill some shit, at least let me progress mechanically, you know, get new items or gather resources, do something that actually requires doing something. And I always know where the story is going to take me, so it's pretty much worthless. You know, in MMOs, like, almost every single time it's like, blah, 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 2 hours of dialogue, and all it is you go out, kill somebody, grab an item, and then bring it back to the person that gave you the quest. It's like, well, I don't need a fucking story to do that. So And that's probably some of where my first-person shooter background comes in. I started with Doom. You know, I wasn't one of the originals. I didn't start with Wolfenstein, but I started with Doom. What was it, 1995? The first Doom came out. And I loved that game. I played the shit out of that game. And as time went on, you know, GoldenEye came out, played the crap out of that. Perfect Dark came out, played the crap out of that. Counter-Strike Source came out. I just love first-person shooters. But what kind of happened, and I played a lot of Call of Duty, like Call of Duty Ghosts and stuff like that, but at some point I just kind of decided there wasn't enough substance for me in most first-person shooter games. Like, I need the ability to make more decisions than just where I'm going to run and, you know, what route to take and when to throw a flashbang or whatever. Like, the depth for me doesn't come from the story. The depth for me comes from customization and the wise use of distributing skill points or whatever. And I'm not just saying this to tailor what I think my opinion is around this game. You know, I've had this insight into my preferences before I even played this game, so the Ankylosaur's trying to get away. I didn't even have to go out of my way to kill that Pteranodon. He killed himself on me. I wish more dinosaurs did that. It'd be a lot less work for me to do. My wife's really excited. The new Civ 6 DLC just came out a day or two ago. She and I played a lot of Civ 6 together. That's one of the few games that she and I can play hours and hours of. And then once you finish a file, you don't have to come back to it right away. You can wait a week, you can wait a month, and be like, we should start a Civ 6 file this weekend. And what it is just like a game of chess on steroids. A board game on steroids. Oh man, I'm super close to getting the foundation complete. I never envy the thought of having to do this whenever I start a new file. Like, this is actually one of the things I think about when I'm starting a new file. Like, oh, fuck. I'm going to get to the point where I have to spend 2 full days collecting stone to get foundations on my extended raft. But, once it's done, I always feel like a piggity pimp. Really, I feel like I can finally start the game, is what I actually feel like once I get the foundation of the boat complete. Because the next step is to customize how I want the boat to function and, you know, to look like. And that's fun, you know. And building the walls and stuff takes so much less resources than it does to build the foundations. Like, building a solid stone wall is like half the resources of a foundation. So I wish that they would come out with like a PC version of Perfect Dark. Not to get too old school or anything, and don't think about Perfect Dark Zero. I'm talking about Perfect Dark for the N64. I can't be the only one that thought that game was fucking amazing, because I don't know if you remember or not, if you ever played the game, but you could actually, there were different types of bots that you could have in multiplayer, and you could issue them orders. So one of the things I like to do in Perfect Dark is to set up a base. Like, you can move the crates and stuff. So I move the crates in a certain way, and then I would post my bots behind them and tell them to stay there. I'd set a sentry gun up high up on the wall, and whenever one of my friends would come bumbling their way in, they'd just get mowed down. It was just fun because there was so much strategy involved for a first-person shooter. In fact, that's probably one of the more strategic first-person shooters I've ever played. As far as you know, not just the first-person angle. Obviously, Counter-Strike is extremely strategic, you know, with what route you should take and what timing you should expose yourself. I mean, you don't want to run around the corner where you know there's probably a sniper looking at you, you know, on Aztec or Dust or whatever level. Like, you gotta be careful about when you come around a corner and which route you're gonna take. That's that turn. It's like, okay, so the other team went this way last time. Are they gonna take that same route again, or are they gonna change it up? And once you play certain people enough times, you start to get the feel of what pattern they set themselves into, and then you gotta kind of adapt and counter-strike, which I didn't plan that, it just came out that way. Kind of cheesy, but it all makes sense. Sorry, I know I'm adjusting my headphones a lot. It's not that they're uncomfortable, it's just, I don't know. I should probably like tighten it a little bit. There. Oh, and another thing that we could talk about, if anyone's interested, and again, this is something you can post in the comments section below, and I'll address it in one of my future videos. The next video that I make, in fact, you know, I'll address, especially because if you post a comment, a question about real estate, or a question about the military. I spent 6 years in the Navy, got deployed all over the place. So if you have questions about any of that kind of stuff, you're going to be one of the few people who are approaching me with a question, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have about that kind of stuff. And my overall view of my time in the Navy was great. Oh, it looks like my plants are in fruitling stage. So they're actually producing vegetables now, it looks like. But what I was going to say about my time in the military is, now that I'm out, like, I don't miss being in the Navy so much as I miss the camaraderie of the people that I got to work with in the Navy. Because they seriously do become like brothers and sisters. And then like the chiefs and senior chiefs are kind of like fatherly figures. And then the officers are kind of like your douchebag cousins or whatever. No, you know, a lot of the officers were really cool too, but some of them had an arrogance to them. We would always joke on the enlisted side that they got their degree in underwater basket weaving because you need a bachelor's degree to become an officer. So we just joke about and pretend that they had a degree in some bullshit and now they're an officer. But no, most officers are pretty cool. There is definitely, since there's a hierarchy in the military, there's probably a little bit of envy there. I never felt the envy. I was happy where I was at. I was treated really well. I was an AT, which is an avionics electronics technician. Worked on the P-3 aircraft. Did stuff with radar systems like the APS-113 radar. We worked with contractors from Raytheon. We did satellite comms, crypto, all sorts of nerdy stuff. And what they called us were Trons, because we were nerdy and we dealt with the technology of the aircraft. So, and we were the only shop in the squadron where we had locked doors. Like, a chief couldn't just come barging in. They had to knock on our door, and we would let them in to our shop because we could have had sensitive information out that we were working on. So I was treated very well on the enlisted side. So if you're worried about being officer enlisted, you know, do some research and figure out what the differences are. There's definitely a hierarchy to it, but if you have questions, feel free to ask. So right now, that torch is in my way. I'm setting up the taming pen. And when you set up walls, if they're not aligned correctly, you'll see those gaps in between the two walls. And I'm kind of OCD. Like, I want it to fit correctly, which can take a little finagling. The ARC developers need to work on this shit. And I'm not sure if it's because I'm trying to do this with the foundation extension trick for the raft, or what the deal is, but it'd be nice if they made this a little bit, placing structures a little bit more solid. There's something with the line of code that confuses it. It makes it do that jittery thing where it goes back and forth. Yeah, so that whole thing's going to be the taming pen. And I was actually being dumb. I'm going to end up going back and replacing those doorways with windows. Stone window walls, whatever they're called. And then just one row of the window frames, and then above that I'll do the door frames. Because some dinos, I think, can fit through the doorways. I'm not sure if Raptors can or not. Most can't, but just for the sake of being safe about it, I'm going to put those stone window walls in on the first floor. And then I'm going to use, you know, the stone gateway for the entrance, as well as build a ramp so that if I'm in the water or something, there's a higher likelihood that they'll get into the taming pen. Yeah, you know, I almost about would say that as viewers, I kind of see you as consultants. You know, if you just want to watch my videos and be entertained, or if you're trying to learn something, good, because those are some of the primary reasons why I'm doing this. But if you want to get involved, you know, I'd really like to hear your opinion on what I can improve on. You know, you'd be like a consultant to me. And if you wanted me to throw your name out there in gratitude, I'd be more than happy to do so. You know, if you wanted to help me out with suggestions or anything like that. I know not everybody wants that spotlight. Although right now it's more like a match flame, because I don't really have any subscribers or anything like that. Not yet anyway, hoping to in the future sometime. Gotta start somewhere, so There we go. Get this set up correctly. So, yeah, I'm setting it up this way so I'll have an easy view in there. That way I can kite a wild dino inside of there and then have plenty of viewable space to shoot through, to trank them through. So if you've been paying attention to what I put my skill points in, you might have noticed fortitude, or not fortitude. Yeah, and what that is, it's not obvious to everybody unless they did some research. If you're new to the game, you're not going to know exactly what that does. But it helps defend against torpor. And what torpor is like if you get poisoned, you know, like one of those, what are they called? Dilos. They have a longer name, but the short name is Dilo, where their necks pop out and they spit poison, get in your eyes. Or if you get bit by a Troodon, what will happen is you'll lose vision, and sometimes you'll black out and faint, and you'll be completely helpless. Fortitude helps defend against that. And it also helps you defend against extreme temperatures. So the higher your fortitude level is, the better suited you are to be comfortable in any environment. You'd have to have a lot of points into fortitude to go up north to the winter biome without any clothes on. It would take a lot of points to get there. More points than I'd ever be willing to dump into fortitude alone. But I put a lot of points into my running speed, melee damage, stamina. I put some points into health and fortitude. I don't put any points into food, and I don't put any points into water, because both those things are not that hard to sustain. So I just kind of deem them unworthy of points. And then later on in the game, you can actually reset your points with a Mind Wipe tonic. So if you want to respec your character, it's not a problem. It takes a modest amount of materials, and especially that late in the game, you won't have any problems making a Mind Wipe tonic. So experiment, have fun, play the game your way. You'll always hear me advocate for that. You know, even though I'm giving some advice, it's not so much advice as it is opinion, because some of the things that I say are generally true. Some of them are opinion, and it's up to you to distinguish what you want to take as opinion and what you think you could do that would be better than what I'm doing. Alright, get that stone gateway up. Then it'll be a fully functional taming pen. I'll probably get the walls a bit higher before I get a stag in there. Although I don't think a stag could get out of a too high wall, 2-story wall. In fact, I'm fairly certain it couldn't get out, but I build up the sides of the taming pen. I think it's 4 or 5 walls high, and that's for, like, if I want to tame an Argentavis, it's much easier to get the Argentavis in there when you have the whole gateway available with the room inside. like on my base, I only went 2 walls high, and it looks kind of goofy because the gateway sits 4 or 5 walls high. But with Taming Pen on the raft, I'll build the walls all the way up to the height of the gateway. And then I'll put ceilings. I'll put some ceilings in, but I won't cover the whole thing with ceilings, so that way I can drop smaller dinos in once I get the Argentavis. Because the Argentavis is pretty big. So if you get an Argentavis in there, and you have like 2 ceiling tiles missing, it's not going to be able to fly through that. But you'll still be able to like dump a raptor down there, or a scorpion, or a saber-tooth. So you may have noticed that your raft kind of goes through stuff, like this boulder. So I'm using it as, to my advantage here. Where the rock is pretty much on my boat, and I can just hit it from the boat. And we'll cover this more later, and you'll see it happen too. Kind of inevitable, but if you have a tamed dino on your boat and you go through a boulder, that boulder will knock your dino through your ship walls all the way out the back. So if you can, try to have an elevated platform that you can put your dinos on, so that way if you go through a rock a little bit, it won't drag your tamed dino off the boat. Not as easily anyway, because if it's up higher, the boulder, if it does come through the boat, will hopefully go under it. The best way to avoid it is just not to go through boulders if you got tamed dinos. If you don't have tamed dinos, then there's no consequence to going through them. There used to be a time, and I don't know if it was something that was fixed or if it was just a problem that I was having specifically for some reason, but there were a few times where I would get snagged on rocks or something, and I wouldn't be able to get my boat out. Like, I'd be able to turn my boat and kind of get a little ways away, and then it would rubber band me back into that spot in which I was stuck, so I had to ditch the raft. It was probably just a problem that was specific to my case. And to be fair, that only happened like 2 or 3 times a long while ago. Like when I first got the game, maybe a year ago. I don't remember when I first got it. It's been a while, maybe a year and a half. I don't know. So, if I were to guess, today is day 8 on the arc. Day 9 is going to be a lot about putting walls up on the boat, and I may even go for some tames. Pteranodon would be no problem. I've been kind of waiting for that Pteranodon saddle, and I've also been kind of waiting to maybe hopefully stumble across a higher level one, which isn't happening, so I'll just try to take what I can get. And then I've seen some pretty nice stagos, around the level 200 mark. And then there's that level 230 Ankelo, but it's male, but I'm at that point where it's just like, just give me something good for God's sake. Eggs be damned. Trying to get my trike to get on the raft, but he's stuck in those trees. Or she's stuck in those trees. Dumbass. Oh, and tomorrow I should have vegetables too, which is another thing I've kind of been waiting on a little bit. Because both the ankylo and the stag eat vegetables. They prefer vegetables over... They eat berries, but they prefer vegetables over berries. And then obviously, if I could, I would feed them kibble, but none of the dinos I've seen have been worth the amount of kibble that it would take to tame them. You know, if you're going to use kibble for taming, if you're going to go through all the efforts collecting eggs and making the dehydrated prime meat and make the kibble, you don't want to waste it on a lower level dino. You want to wait until you find something really, really good and then use the kibble on that. So vegetables is a huge step up. That's going to help me tame things much more effectively without actually having to go through the muss and fuss of making kibble. And then once I get the Pteranodon eats meat. So unfortunately, this first Pteranodon, I'm not really going to be able to feed all that well for taming effectiveness, but I got plenty of just old Joe Blow meat. Maybe I can get him some raw prime meat. But once I get that Pteranodon, it'll be really easy to get raw prime meat on demand. Like those brontosaurs on the Sanctuary Island, no problem. Stegosaurs, when you kill them, they have prime meat in them as well. And Pteranodons can kill the stags, no problem as well. So I'll have the constant stream of vegetables from the crop plots, and I'll be able to get prime meat using the Pteranodon as a killing weapon. So, Rico Suave. Just wait, the good part's coming up. Are you ready for it? Break. Shut that shit right the fuck off. Okay, so there's Fortitude. Just put a point into that. Level 42. There's a greenhouse. Greenhouse structures. Taming pen's looking nice. Get the gateway up. So that's gonna be kind of glitchy. It might take a couple tries. So you can kind of work it by moving around and trying to place at a different angle. You can also kind of work it using Q on the keyboard. And sometimes it's just gonna take you a few tries to get it right. So I got lucky, to be honest, that time. Another ominous looking moon. Something bad's gonna happen. Okay, get the ramps up, going up to the gateway. Yeah, sometimes it's easier to place structures when you get off the actual ground and out into the water a little bit. That's a little bit too far out off the water. I thought it would be more shallow there. I misjudged. Yeah, so I was going to place the ramp up to the taming pen, but I jumped off like an idiot. I need to use the ramp to get up onto the raft just to get onto it. So now I'm actually getting it into the shallow water, which I had failed to do the first time around. right, everybody. Well, that's it for day 8. A lot of progress today. A lot of good talks. And hope to see you all on day 9.